Good evening. Good evening, Rotarians and guests, and welcome to District 7890's Foundation Dinner. My name is Robert McDonald, and I'm with the Rotary Club of West Springfield. And I am the Foundation Committee Chair and this evening's MC. At this time, we'd like to have Mike Roy from the Rotary Club of Northampton, who will be our governor in 2014-2015, come forward and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
You all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You may be seated. We're going to have Mike Barnett please come up from the Rotary Club of South Windsor. He'll be our governor in 2013-2014 to do the invocation.
Actually, I'm going to make you all stand up again. Destroying the place. Thank you, Lord, for blessing our District 7890 with caring Rotary members. Members who see that there's a great need for our help and step in to make a difference. Members who recognize that the world would be a better place where we all give a little, but together give so much. We've guided our Rotary leaders, and in so doing, we're on our way to eliminating polio. You have helped our clubs in their efforts to help the poor and underprivileged, in their undertaking by many projects that include providing clean drinking water, housing, literacy, to name but a few. We ask for neither praise, but it's always great to see the smile of happiness that radiates from a poor farmer when he sees water gushing from a well. For the mother who knows she has one thing less to worry about after her child has received the polio vaccine. Guide our members in their support of our Rotary Foundation, and in turn, we can make this world a little bit better, one step at a time. We ask for your blessing as we partake in eating this food that you have provided for us, and are thankful that we sleep at night with no pangs of hunger. We ask that you watch over our troops and keep them safe. Amen.
Amen.
Now you can be seated. It's my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you District Governor of District 7890, Sue Clark from the Rotary Club of East Hartford.
Trustee Chair Bill and Lorna, and my fellow Rotarians, welcome everyone. What a wonderful turnout. A year and a half ago, when I invited then Trustee Chair-elect Bill to be our keynote speaker, you will hear him speak very soon and you will understand why I've been so excited he was able to accept. I promised him we would show up in force to hear his message and to honor him and Lorna. Thank you so very much for helping me keep my word. So this is for you. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here. I also want to thank the Foundation Dinner Committee very quickly. Chair Bob McDonald, who is also our MC for this evening and is our permanent chair for the Foundation Committee. Past Governor Sue Atkins, who served as governor the year Chair Bill was Rotary International president, which was 2006-07. Governor-elect Eileen Rao, Simsbury Cranberry Rotarians Matt James and Alma Crew. Alma is also our district's group study exchange chair, and I can't tell you how much I owe to Alma this year for it. West Springfield past President George Condon, who is also our district grants chair, and last but never least, Putnam Rotarian Gary Osby, who's here in support of this event and is a past district governor and is, of course, my district conference chair. If you didn't notice the rock out there, make sure you tap it before you leave. It's a good luck thing to do. Thank you for taking this opportunity for fellowship with Rotarians and friends from all around District 7890. In a little while, we will have some special foundation-related recognitions and the opportunity to hear Trustee Chair Bill's message. Now, please enjoy the meeting.
To rearrange yourself to another part of the room because Sue really wants everyone to see this 3-minute clip. So if you do move to another part of the room, you're only going to move for a couple of minutes. So stand, move, do whatever you want to watch this special video.
We're heading to the birthplace of America, Plymouth, Massachusetts, for this year's Rotary District Conference. Hi, this is District Governor Susan Klopp. The Radisson Hotel and Conference Center in Plymouth Harbor is the destination for this year's conference. Peter and I, along with my conference and publicity chairs, Karen and Gary Osprey, have spent a lot of time in Plymouth learning about the attractions and offerings of this historic and fun town. Plymouth Harbor is beautiful and within walking distance of our conference center. The streets are filled with warm and inviting shops, boutiques, restaurants, and attractions. You can spend a leisurely afternoon exploring the shops, or perhaps enjoying a cup of tea at an outdoor cafe or a pint in one of the taverns and restaurants. If you love fresh seafood and fresh lobster, Plymouth Harbor has many wonderful restaurants from which to choose. We stopped at Cupcake Charlie's, a local favorite on the waterfront where people were lined up before they even opened their doors for business. There's something for everyone, young and old, in Plymouth. Whether it's the restaurants and shops, nearby golf courses, historic sightseeing, or just finding a quiet spot overlooking Plymouth Harbor, I'm sure you'll enjoy your weekend in Plymouth. Plymouth Rock is the centerpiece of the waterfront district and a must-stop on your tour of Plymouth. The harbor is also the home of the beautiful Mayflower, too. As you know, the district conference is all about fun and fellowship with a little bit of business mixed in. Free time is built into the schedule, so you'll have a chance to enjoy the many offerings of Plymouth and Plymouth Harbor. Our district conference will be family-friendly, so it's okay to bring the kids. The Harvest Dinner at Plymouth Plantation is listed in the book, 1,000 Things to Do Before You Die. And sure enough, we are planning a wonderful evening on Friday night at Plymouth Plantation. We'll dine overlooking the water while servers and performers in period costumes put on a show with music and fun at Plymouth Plantation. I hope you'll join us at this year's district conference. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 18th, 19th, and 20th in Plymouth, Mass. You can sign up now at our district website, rotarydistrict7890.org. This is something out of Bewitched, right? This is later she was taken out and drowned, right? How many quarters did you put in?
Now, please remember, if you missed any portion of that, or you'd like to see it again, it's available at Facebook. And you can get there from the Rotary website. I'm not sure that it's going to win an Oscar, but you never know, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, now we're going to move into our program, so just go right ahead and eat your dessert and relax, and we'll get right through this. Tonight we'd like to recognize our Group Study Exchange team. Most of us know Group Study Exchange as GSE. We all know that Group Study Exchange teams are paired Rotary District Exchange teams of 4 or 5 non-Rotarians from a variety of professions accompanied by a Rotary team leader who go to another country for a cultural exchange. The exchange is typically 4 to 6 weeks for a vocational, educational, cultural immersion in another country. First, we'd like to recognize Alma Crew because she's our district chair for the GSE. Alma, can you stand up? We also should have Barbara Spiegel with us tonight. She was the team leader that went through the, from the Torrington Rotary Club who went to Nepal. She with us, Barbara Spiegel. And then I'm told that we have the team that went to Nepal in 2011. Are you here in the room, the team that went to Nepal? Please stand. And I've been told there are some other GSC alumni in the room, so if the GSC alumni could stand up and be recognized, is that accurate information? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. We'd also like to recognize Terry Fish. If Terry could raise her hand and wave just to let us know where you're sitting, Terry. Okay, everybody, a round of applause for Terry Fish, please. Terry Fitch is our Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator, and she's from the Newport Rotary Club, Newport, Rhode Island. Terry, thanks for being with us. And if the district committee for the foundation dinner could please stand, be recognized. All those who are on the dinner committee tonight. This is a great event, and it can't be taken on without the hard work of the people on the committee. They're the ones that made this happen. They were going to make it happen earlier in the year, and then we had to postpone it. They had to do it all over again to make it happen tonight. Okay, at this time we're going to get into our recognitions. So we're going to have a few people come forward who are going to assist with the recognitions this evening. Karen Andrews, please come forward. Larry Otteson, Bill Boyd, Sue Clark, and Eileen Rao. Now, during the recognition portion of this program, you can take photographs if you want to. However, we're not going to stop the presentation ceremony for posed photographs. If you want to take a posed photograph, you can do that after the event is over this evening. But you can take, moving photographs while we're going through this. Jonas Salk once said, in the words of Jonas Salk, "Hope lies in dreams, in imagination, and in the courage of those who dare to make dreams into reality." Of course, Jonas Salk was the one who invented the polio vaccine. And this evening we're going to honor 18 clubs, because 18 clubs in our district are going to receive the Rotary US $200 million Challenge Certificate of Appreciation. The clubs receiving this recognition contributed more than $2,000 each during Rotary year 2010-2011 to the Rotary Challenge to End Polio Now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off the clubs' names. Please hold your applause till all the clubs' names have been read. And if you're a member of that club, we'd like to have you stand and remain standing until all the clubs are standing. So the first club is Avon Canton. I think we have a few folks here from Avon Canton. Please stand up and stay standing. We have some individuals from the Bristol Rotary Club with us this evening. Some individuals from East Hartford with us this evening. East Longmeadow. Enfield. Farmington. Glastonbury, Hartford, Litchfield Morris, New Milford, New Britain Berlin, Palmer, Simsbury Granby, Torrington, Westfield, West Hartford, West Springfield, and Wilbraham Hamden. These are our 18 clubs that all got the certificate, the Rotary US $200 million Challenge Certificate of Appreciation. Let's give a big round of applause. We thank you very much, because without your help, polio would not be being eradicated across the planet. Our first recognition tonight is a very special recognition. It's the Rotary Citation for Meritorious Service given out by the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. And the recipient of this recognition will be Larry Otteson.
Larry, I'd just like to say thank you on behalf of the Foundation. This is a special award that recognises service to the Rotary Foundation, and it's service that does not recognise giving to the foundation. It's somebody who has made a special contribution to make our foundation successful. And I think it's highly appropriate, Larry, that tonight it should be you. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to do the recognitions for the highest per capita annual giving banners. This banner recognizes the top 3 per capita giving clubs in our district. So when you hear your club mentioned, one member of the club come up, shake hands with Karen on the end, Larry, Bill, come over here, Eileen and Sue, and get your recognition. So the club with the highest per capita giving is Simsbury Granby, and the number that they gave was $267.93 per Rotarian in their club.
Congratulations. Well done. Thank you.
Highest per capita annual giving, second place, Hartford, $249.46 per Rotarian. Highest per capita annual giving, third place, Dalton at $229.83. And I believe there is nobody here from Dalton. I believe there is somebody here from Dalton. Close enough. The next recognition category is 100% Rotary Foundation Sustaining Member Club. This banner recognizes clubs that have every active member contributing $100 or more to the annual programs fund during Rotary year 2010-2011. Rotary E Club of District 7890. The next club to receive the 100% Rotary Foundation Sustaining Member Club banner is the Rotary Club of Terryville. We're going to move on to the next category of recognitions, Every Rotarian Every Year Club banner. This banner recognizes clubs that have achieved a minimum of $100 per capita, with every member personally contributing some amount to the annual programs fund during Rotary year 2010-2011. The first club in that category is Dalton. So Vinny, come on back up. The second club in this category is East Longmeadow. third club to receive the Every Rotarian Every Year Club banner will be the Rotary E Club of District 7890.
Thank you.
Haven't you done well?
I know.
The final club to get the Every Rotarian Every Year Club banner will be Terryville. Now we're going to move into the permanent fund recognitions. The permanent fund of Rotary International is an endowment. The principal is invested forever and never used. Only a portion of the interest income is given to the annual programs fund as a supplement. Two of the most popular ways to donate to the permanent fund are the Benefactor and Bequest Society. Rotary Foundation of Rotary International recognizes those individuals who have made a commitment in their estate plans totaling $10,000 or more to the permanent fund as a Bequest Society member. First person in this category this evening to become members of the Bequest Society are Mary Pat and Mike Roy. Mike is a Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Northampton and will be District Governor in 2014-2015. Our next Rotarian to be entered into the Bequest Society membership is District Governor Sue and Peter Clark. District Governor Sue is from the Rotary Club of East Hartford, as is Peter Clark.
I did this because we were going to have this in November, and I would get everybody in the room to join me in the Bequest Society, and there are forms out there, but obviously, maybe you'll all join in Eileen.
Go Eileen.
Rotary Foundation of Rotary International recognizes those individuals who have made a commitment in their estate planning or who have made an outright gift of $1,000 to $9,999 to the permanent fund as benefactors. This evening, the following individuals become benefactors of the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. Mary Ann Turner from the Rotary Club of Enfield. However, Mary Ann is not able to be with us this evening. Rich Katz is from the Rotary Club of Enfield. Rich is not here. And past District Governor Prasad Menon from the Rotary Club of Simsbury-Granby is also unable to attend this evening. Major donors is the next category of recognitions. Major donors' contributions are given to the Annual Programs Fund. The Annual Programs Fund invests 3 years and then spends all the money on local, national, and international humanitarian, educational, and cultural programs. The Rotary Foundation of Rotary International recognizes individuals when their combined personal outright or cumulative gifts reach $10,000 with the major donor recognition. And don't let the $10,000 in cash scare you, because they'll take rare wine, an antique car, or a piece of artwork if they happen to have that. Our Rotary Foundation is not proud. They'll take whatever you would like to give them, as long as they can convert it to cash. The first individual receiving the major donor recognition this evening will be Richard Stevens from the Rotary Club of Enfield, who is unable to be with us this evening. The second person to become a major donor this evening is Matt and Tracy James. Matt is from the Rotary Club of Simsbury-Granby.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
The third major donor this evening is Joyce and Robert Fish from the Rotary Club of Manchester. Not here this evening. Okay. That concludes the recognition portion, so I thank the people who came up and stood in front of the podium to shake and greet our individuals that got recognitions. Thank you very much. You can be seated now. Before we get into the main part of our program this evening, I just want to remind everybody, on your way out of here this evening, please leave your name badge in the little basket that's on the registration table. The little plastic containers will be reused at our next function. The district is trying to go green and save money, so the plastic container you're wearing with your name badge, throw it in the basket, help us save a couple of dollars. We'd appreciate it. So now to the main event of the evening. If we'd have had a recognition for the person who traveled the furthest, our keynote speaker tonight certainly would have gotten that recognition. Our guest speaker tonight is Bill Boyd, and he's from the Pakuranga Rotary Club in District 9920, which is New Zealand. Bill has been a Rotarian since 1971. He was president of Rotary International in 2006-2007. He is our current sitting chair of the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. Bill Boyd, would you please come up and address the crowd?
It really is a pleasure for Lorna and I to be here with you tonight. The last time was a bit of a false start, and I'm only very pleased that we didn't bring any snow with us this time. And this really is a night for the family of Rotary. In the course of this evening, Lorna and I have met some past district governors and other Rotarians who have served Rotary for a very long time. And we met one young lady who has been a Rotarian for not quite 4 weeks. And so it's great to be able to talk about the Rotary Foundation. I thought probably I should give you my little elevator speech that I use when people say to me, "Now, what's the Rotary Foundation?" There are 1.2 million Rotarians in almost every country around the world. And those of us who come from countries which are fortunate and where we can afford to make a contribution to others, we give it through our Rotary Foundation. And it goes through the foundation to the Rotarians who are working in areas that are developing countries that have very significant needs. And so really our Rotary Foundation is just the way that we support Rotary in so much of its international service. And in a way, when you give to the Rotary Foundation, you don't give to the Rotary Foundation, you really give to the work of the Rotary Foundation. And you can just about say that while you go up 3 floors in the elevator. And then you hope that you catch up with the people at coffee break and they want to ask you some more questions. And probably the obvious first question is going to be, well, this Rotary Foundation of yours, what does it do? Well, of course, that's a harder one to answer because we do so very much. We do thousands of projects every year. But let's take a couple of examples. There was a Rotary Club in the States that paired with a Rotary Club in Peru. And they went to visit a group of villagers and asked the people in the villages, "What's your greatest need? What can we do to help you?" And the answer they got was that we live on the banks of a river. We have plenty of water, but the water's polluted. So our greatest need, because it will impact on the health of our children, on the ability to give them an education, is that we get clean water. So the Rotary Clubs, with support from the Rotary Foundation, trained local tradesmen to build biosand filters. The cost of the materials came from the foundation grant. And then they trained a group of women from within the villages in just basic sanitation, how to use the water properly, and in simple health. And so those people stayed on also as an advantage to those villages. And the final step that they took, the Rotarians, was to send in an expert to check the water quality to make sure that they had been successful. And as a Rotarian, that's the sort of thing that we like to achieve with a Rotary project, because we went to the beneficiaries and asked them what they wanted, and then we trained local tradesmen in how to build the biosand filters. And that means, of course, that you've got sustainability, because if anything goes wrong, the people who made them and put them into the homes are already on site and can fix them. And of course, we trained that group of women who then would have an ongoing impact on the life of that community. So that's the sort of thing that we do in Rotary. If you want another example, we had a club from within the States that paired with a Rotary club in Jamaica. And they believed that it would be worthwhile doing a project in St Mary's Parish. Now, the literacy rate in St Mary's Parish is around 20%. So they were going into an area which had an illiteracy rate of 80% and 85% unemployment. And if you really picture that scenario, it'll tell you something of the area that these two Rotary clubs went to work in. And they went in and talked to the people to try and establish what was the greatest need. And as they talked to the locals, it became apparent that one of the first issues which needed to be addressed was just simply feeding the children. So they started with a project which brought breakfast to 3,500 children in schools every morning, which had some side benefits. One of them was the children now started coming to school, because if you came to school you got fed. But the other thing that was very important too was that if you feed the children before you seek to educate them, you're going to be so much more effective. But they recognised that this was only a short-term solution. So they decided that the best way to address longer-term issues would be to train the children in growing their own food. Around the schools there was plenty of land, so each child was given a garden plot. And they were shown how to make compost and how to plant and how to care for a garden. And because the climate there is very hot and moist, they found that the children could get a crop in 90 days. So they went through 2 cycles of 90 days, 2 crops, and then they said to the children, now you're going to become the teachers, and we're going to come out with you to your homes, and you and us, we're going to tell your parents how they can grow food for you. And they did exactly that. They went out, they set up garden plots, they gave seeds, they passed on learning by telling people how they could actually produce their own food. And because the rain doesn't rain continuously, they recognised there would be a need for some irrigation, so they put in drums that would catch the water in the rainy season that could be used on the vegetables during the dry season. Now that too has all the elements of a good Rotary project, because firstly they found what the real needs were, And then they very sensibly worked their way through to make sure that what came at the end of their activity was a very sustainable project. So that's the sort of thing that the Rotary Foundation supports. Those are good Rotary projects. If the coffee break hasn't ended, the next question is probably one of, do you get good value for the money? And the answer to that is yes too. We have a program in which we have peace centres which are training 70 young people, young professionals, young people who can take advantage of a 2-year master's degree course in peace and conflict resolution, and that they're in universities around the world. And we sent a young man from India called Nani Mahanta to Bradford in the UK to become one of our peace scholars. He graduated and went back to Assam in India, where he was a university lecturer. And he talked to his professor and said, I believe that there is the opportunity in our university to run a course on peace and conflict resolution. And the professor said, okay, let's try it. So they ran a 6-month course in the university and found that the number of students who wanted to take part in it was just much, much greater than they had expected. So they went to the authorities in the university and said, look at the response we're getting, and we believe that we should set up a master's degree program in the university for peace and conflict resolution. So what's happened is that Rotarians funded that one man to go to Bradford University to get his degree. But what's coming from it is 25 new graduates with history degrees in peace and conflict resolution every year. And when you think about it, that's a wonderful multiplier. We often talk about the leverage of Rotary. Well, that's a very good multiplier. But if you want another example, my wife Lorna had cataract operations last year. They cost in New Zealand $4,320, and I remember how much. I think if you had 2 cataract operations in the state, you could probably put a 0 on the end of the figures actually to find what they would cost you here. But at the International Assembly, where the district governors of the following year are trained, I was approached by a district governor-elect from India, and he handed me this little colour brochure that his district had produced, listing projects that they wanted other countries to support them. And in it was the fact that they run health camps and they do cataract operations with volunteer surgeons and, of course, with Rotary volunteer support for between $20 and $30 each. Now, the difference in many ways is that the surgeon who operated on Lorna certainly wasn't a volunteer. We actually drove under the building, and I'm not sure whether it was a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, but it was a very expensive bit of motor car that was sitting there. And of course, she went into an area where there were receptionists and magazines to read, and she got given a cup of tea, in our case. And in India, you'd have that operation, and then you would be taken outside and you'd lie on the ground. But you're giving people eyesight for $20. So yes, I think we really do, in our Rotary work, give value, get value for money. At that stage, you probably need to go back to work, but if you get together again at lunchtime, the next question is, do you address the real needs? And yes, the two projects that I told you about first were really focused on addressing the real needs. And that's important because it's very easy to get emotional about something that you see on the television news, but then to really miss the point that we shouldn't be addressing symptoms. We've got to address the causes if we're really going to make a difference. I went to a conference in the Philippines. It was a presidential conference, and they had breakouts, and one of the breakouts was on literacy. And that's always been something that's been an interest to me, so I went to this breakout, and I sat down next to an American who was working in one of the towns in the south of the Philippines. And he told me his story. He said that when he went into the town, and he had been sent there by his company, he realized that there were 3 preschools in that town. And he said they were primitive. No electricity, no running water. The sanitation was a hole out in the back in the garden. He said they were really, really basic. So he talked to the members of his new Rotary Club and said, how about we rebuild those 3 preschools? And the club said, that sounds a good idea. And he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go back and contact my old club in the States, and we can probably get some money for them. So then we called the teachers of the 3 preschools to come to a club meeting. And we told them what we were going to do. And he said they went away and they talked amongst themselves, and they came back. And they said to them, we really appreciate the offer that you have made to us. But can we tell you what our number 1 priority is? Our number 1 priority is books. And he said to me, since that moment, I have always had a passion for literacy, because I came to realize that those teachers knew that for those children in their care, if they were to have any chance of an effective future, then they had to be able to read and write. And the starting point was books. So yes, we do address real needs. I met a district governor-elect from India at an institute in India, and he told me that he was president of his club when the major tsunami struck on the 26th of December 2004. And I think we normally think of that as affecting mainly Indonesia. It also affected part of the coast of Thailand. It hit Sri Lanka very badly, and there was significant loss of life because all the schools and so on were right on the coastline. But it also hit a major area of the coastline of India. And he said when they talked about it, his club said, we've heard of 2 clubs that are going to rebuild fishing villages. So how about we rebuild a fishing village? And they all agreed that that was a great idea. So they found where there were villages which had been destroyed, and they went out as a number of the members of the club and presented themselves very proudly and said, we're Rotarians and we're here to serve people, and we've come to rebuild your village. And they said the interesting thing was that the fishermen tended to be standing on the outside of the group, and they were talking amongst themselves. And then one of their spokesmen came up and said, we appreciate your offer, and it's very good of you to come to help us, but if you will give us boats and nets, we'll rebuild our own village. And so Rotary does determine what the real needs are, so that yes, we get real value, and yes, we determine real needs. And I suppose the other question would be, do you really get a lot of support? And the answer to that's got to be yes, too. For most of you, you will know that in January, the CEO of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, came to the International Assembly in San Diego and announced another $50 million contribution to Rotary for use in the eradication of polio. That takes the figure from the Gates Foundation up to $405 million. 200 million of that was used by the Gates to put a little bit of pressure on us by saying, we want you to match this figure. But having said that, it's interesting the degree of faith that the Gates Foundation have in us, that the first challenge was for 100 million, and that arrived within a matter of weeks. It's a telegraphic transfer into Evanston, into RI headquarters. And I'd like to add a personal note at this point. I had the honour of representing Rotary when we negotiated this recent $50 million. We did it over a lunch. The Gates Foundation had their number 3 man, Tashi Yamada, who was heading, because he's just recently retired, all their health programs. And he and I sat over lunch, and at the end of the lunch, we stood up and we shook hands. And that's all that it takes, because the Gates Foundation trust us, and we certainly trust them. The exchange of letters between the two of us was about a page and a half long, which really just confirmed the fact that each of us had agreed to that funding. So yes, other people do support us. And the Gates Foundation is one of those very important supporters. It's interesting because we've become very close to the Gates Foundation. The Gates Foundation, or Bill and Melinda, have become concerned over the fact that in our polio eradication efforts, that some of the governments around the world have got just a little tired of giving us money. And while, if you faced it realistically, Bill Gates could pay for the whole cost of eradicating polio, he doesn't think that's appropriate. And he thinks that the governments of the world have got to stand up. And he believes that the people who can best advocate with the governments of the world are Rotarians. And so there's a lot of emphasis, and we're in close communication at the moment with the Gates Foundation on our advocacy efforts, because Bill Gates recognises that we can do more as Rotarians than he can do with all of his staff. But he's not the only one who gives to us. We have a lady called Mrs. Birla from India, whose husband formed the Birla Group of companies, and they're a very significant operation. And she's not a Rotarian, and she came to Evanston to be recognised as a member of the Arch Klimp Society. Now, the Arch Klimp Society recognises certainly very significant gifts, and the table that we're sitting at tonight, we have 2 Arch Klimp Society members. And that's something that I think that your district should feel very proud of. But Mrs. Birla came to Evanston. On the Sunday night, she had a dinner mainly for the Indian community in Chicago, and then on the Monday she came out and the staff took her through the building and talked about what they each did and the work that was being done. And when it came to the actual induction ceremony and she had the opportunity to speak, she said, I came here to give you $250,000. But what I've seen today has impressed me so much that I want to make it $1 million. And she's since gone on to add another $4.2 million to that. She has now given us $5.2 million, and she isn't even a Rotarian. Actually, there's some other humorous little bit that goes on to the end of that. Mrs. Birla said to us, Look, this Rotary Foundation I'm impressed with. I'll go back to India and talk to my friend Mrs. Mittal. Now, the Mittals had the largest steel manufacturing operation in India, and then they bought out the largest in Europe, which caused the common market to have a few tremors. And they have become, I would think, the largest steel company in the world. But Mrs. Birla went back home and talked to Mrs. Mittal, and Mrs. Mittal sent us $1 million. So, you know, there are people who are not Rotarians who really believe in what we do. So if you want to ask, you know, are we just 1.2 million enthusiasts working on our own, the answer is simply no. And I talked about the Arch Clump Society, or I mentioned it. It's become a very interesting situation. The largest number of donors by far are in the US. Frank, it's about 250, 260 something. The second largest number of donors come from Taiwan. Now, Taiwan's got 19,000 Rotarians. It's got 10 Rotary districts. But it's become very much the thing to do in Taiwan, if you can afford it, to make a contribution of $250,000 to the Rotary Foundation. And you better be careful, actually, because I went to a permanent fund committee meeting in Korea, and the Korean said, what are we going to do to raise more money? And they didn't really have any particular ideas in mind. So I said to them, how about you go looking for some more Arch Clump Society members in Korea, because your economy is going very well, and you've got 4 times as many Rotarians as Taiwan, but they've got 27 Arch Clump Society members and you've only got 19. So they looked at each other and said, oh yeah, that would be quite a good idea. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you can get 5, we'll have a very special induction ceremony for you in June. But you need to have 5 and we'll call it Korea Day. So they've really responded very well, and actually they've found 8 Arch Clump Society members who will be inducted in June. The only thing is that I sort of feel I can't really tell them that the Taiwanese have got another 10 that are going to be that are going to be inducted in October, and I don't think I'm breaking the 4-way test in any way. It's just I don't think I really need to take tell the Koreans and take the shine off Korea Day. So there are people who give very significantly to the Rotary Foundation. But last year, at the giving to our annual programs fund was $107 million. And that's the second highest that there ever has been in the history of the Rotary Foundation. And you're talking at a time when, you know, the newspapers will tell you that there were severe economic conditions, but Rotarians still believed enough in the foundation to give to it. But what's important about it is that $107 million was made up in all sorts of amounts. People who gave $100, some who gave $1,000, some who became major donors and gave $10,000, $25,000, or whatever it may be. But it was an accumulation of many Rotarians making a contribution to our Rotary Foundation. And if the lunch hour hasn't entirely evaporated by this time, I think there's one statement that you can make that really sums it all up. And I think it's true of why we are Rotarians. And we are Rotarians because we have come to appreciate that if you are going to live a worthwhile life, you will judge it not on what you get, but what you give. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. That was a very inspiring talk. And if my two young ladies from East Hartford would give me the rest of the proceeds from tonight's raffle. They went shopping? Okay, we're going to give the a gift to Bill Boyd. So Bill, if you come back up. It's customary when you have a dignitary come in from another part of the Rotary world that you give them a gift to remember you by. And our committee thought long and hard about what kind of a gift we could give Bill Boyd that you would remember us by. And then we decided that as the chairperson of the Rotary Foundation, the best gift would be green. And so we decided to give you the other half of the proceeds from the 50-50 raffle, which equals about $820 because we sold a few more raffle tickets after the drawing. So $820 to the Rotary Foundation, which will buy a few more Cadillac operations. Would you like us to give you the money to travel with, or would you like our treasurer to actually mail it into the foundation for you?
Tomorrow morning we take off on our way home. We've been away for about a month, so I don't really know that I should carry it with me from Hartford to DC to San Francisco to New Zealand. So I would really like the treasurer to send the check in twins. Thank you.
We'll do that in your name, Bill. In closing this evening, I'd just like to quote Albert Einstein. It is the responsibility of every human being to aspire to do something worthwhile, to make this world a better place than the one he or she found. I think that Rotary and Rotarians do that on a daily basis. We tend to make the world a better place than the one we found it to be when we got here. I thank you all for coming tonight to District 7890's District Foundation Dinner. I hope you all drive home safely. I hope you had a good time. We hope we see you all next year. Thank you.
Does peace really have a chance within our lifetime? At Rotary, we believe it does. We've created programs at universities around the world, dedicated solely to teaching peace to a new generation. There's a new symbol for